Fantasy Football Warriors. Here we are. We're back. Start sit. Week 4. I love it.
Let's get to it.
All right. Cowboys, Giants. You know, I've had a lot of people ask me, should I start Dak Prescott tonight? I said, well, he's fantasy friendly. He's going up against the Giants. They're in Jerry World, divisional rivalry. Play him.
Yeah, I think it's pretty simple here. The Giants' defense has been not terrible, but hasn't been great either, right? So, and I think in this divisional matchup, I think you just have to start Dak Prescott, CeeDee Lamb. They're kind of must-start players. I know CeeDee Lamb hasn't been producing up to the level in which anyone would like, but he's someone you just got to keep rolling out there because you don't want him to be on your bench when he hits.
And we already saw last week, he was on the sideline telling Dak Prescott, get me the effing ball.
Yep,
right?
squeaky wheel.
Squeaky wheel gets the oil. I'm sure CeeDee Lamb is going to have a big night tonight, just because we've seen that in the past. We've seen, star wideouts get into a little, tensions are high, passions flare, right? They want to win, they want the ball, right? And we've seen it in the past where some of these things happen, and then here you go, next game, it is just a feeding frenzy for that wideout. That's what I expect from CeeDee Lamb tonight.
That is correct. And on the Giants side of things here, the Cowboys are actually not a terrible matchup either. Cowboys have allowed the 4th highest completion percentage to QBs the last 2 weeks. And the Cowboys are kind of like the best running back matchup right now in the league. They're allowing the highest yards per carry, touchdowns, and rushing yards per game to opposing running backs.
I love it. Let's go.
So,
we're gonna beat them down in Jerry World.
And the Giants have allowed the highest 10-plus yard rush rate in the league. So I think this might be kind of a week we start Rico Dowdle. He's got a great matchup here against the Giants. And last week we saw him kind of take over the running back room.
He's definitely starting to.
Which I kind of said in the offseason.
And maybe starting to is an understatement. Yeah. But he's definitely starting to take that work.
Yeah, I said that in the offseason. I wasn't really in on anything over there just because I don't think it's a team that's going to need the running backs very much. But
absolutely.
We talked about
it a lot.
Rico Dowdle versus Ezekiel Elliott. I was just like, Ezekiel Elliott is donezo. It's not going to be the Ezekiel Elliott show. It's going to be Rico Dowdle, and that's kind of what we're seeing.
Just so everyone knows, I was making the argument that it's Zeke. He's coming back home. They're going to want him to be the guy, and turns out your lean was more accurate.
That's what you get over here in the Fantasy Football is you get 2 different opinions, so one of us got to be right.
That's right. Malik Neighbors tonight.
He's awesome. Cowboys defense has been nothing short of a dumpster fire, kind of. So, Malik Neighbors is too good. He has the highest target share percentage in the league.
37.
He has the highest team yards percentage in the league. Almost 50% of the entirety of the Giants' yardage in a game is coming from Malik Neighbors right now.
48% first read target, too.
It's just the Neighbors show. I feel very good about this. I had him as my wide receiver 1 in this class, and honestly, he's probably the best wide receiver prospect I've ever evaluated. So,
for perspective, there's only one wideout in the league that has a higher first read target share than Malik Neighbors. Who is it, Fantasy Football Warriors?
Dun, dun,
You're right.
dun, dun.
Cooper Kupp with 52%.
And that's from like 1 game and a quarter.
Right.
In fairness, right?
Yeah.
So the sample size is far smaller. So
yeah.
But anyway, Malik Neighbors at this point has gone into must-start territory. I don't care what the matchup is. You need to get Malik Neighbors into your lineup. Devin Singletary is a borderline must-start. I kind of thought about putting him in a must-start, but just because of the history between the Cowboys and the Giants and how the offense and the team just has underperformed time and time and again against the Cowboys, I kind of was a little hesitant in that department to feel like the Devin Singletary could get enough touches for it to matter. But the Giants looked good last week. I think they're getting their groove here, and the Cowboys have looked bad, so I think that should offset things. And like I said, it's the number 1 matchup for Devin Singletary. And Devin Singletary has been borderline top 10 running back in the league from like a football standpoint. When you talk about his avoided tackles, his missed tackles 4 straight, like he's playing at a truly, truly elite level right now. And so you put all those things together, Devin Singletary is in for a big night. And I think Daniel Jones is a borderline. You can play him here. I have him as a man. I think there's better options just because Daniel Jones is Daniel Jones, and I don't know if he's ever had a good game against Dallas in his career in 6 years. So it's kind of hard to recommend. But like I said, they're allowing the highest completion or the fourth highest completion percentage to QBs. So it is actually a friendly environment. I think this could be actually a kind of good Thursday night game. We got the rivalry.
Mm-hmm.
One of these teams isn't playing up to par. One of these teams is coming off one of the best full games of football we've seen since the 2022 season, at least. So I like this game here. I think you're starting a lot of the people. You're starting Jake Ferguson as well. He's back. Yep. He had a good game.
That's right. Fourth among tight ends and targets per route. I mean,
beautiful.
What's not to love, right?
Moving off of Thursday, we got Saints Falcons, another division rivalry here. Alvin Kamara continues to be a must start. He's been obviously very good. We've got Chris Olave here as a must start as well. Rashid Shaheed is borderline sit territory, and I would sit Derek Carr. Drake London has a 27% target share over the last 2 weeks. He literally has played all but 2 snaps the entire season. Every snap they've played but 2, he has been on the field. That's amazing.
That's what
His
you want.
target share is coming up the last couple of weeks as well.
That is
Drake London is on the ascent here, which you love to see. However, this game doesn't project well for London. I would be sitting him in this game. He's going to see Marshawn Lattimore, and the Saints defense has been pretty strong all season.
Yep.
Even last week against the Eagles, they only gave up 15 points, right? Devontae Smith was on his way to a pretty good game, but I think some of that was due to the way they were using him. Obviously, he's moving around. He's playing in the slot. I don't think the usage has been as creative with Drake London just yet. So I would be sitting Drake London despite the ascent in terms of the usage and the target share. This is just not a good matchup. I don't think this is a week where he performs very well. Pitts has continued to underwhelm here, but Dallas Goedert obviously went off for 170 yards last week against the Saints, and so that kind of opens the door here where you kind of like, well, yeah, Kyle Pitts hasn't been great, but this could be the game, especially if Drake London isn't a factor. They might be looking to Kyle Pitts, but we both know it's just going to be Darnell Mooney and Ray McLeod, right? So that's, I don't know. It's I'm kind of concerned about Kyle Pitts just because when you look at his, average separation and his success rate, it just hasn't been great. He's kind of one of the worst receivers in the league. Like
his
honestly.
First read target share is only 7.4%.
Yeah.
So it's...
And he's not been running his routes at an above average success rate. Like, I don't know. It's I don't know if the Kyle Pitts thing is happening this season, but good matchup. So just given the tight end position, you might not have better choices, and who knows?
Yeah, the tight end position right now is a... Ugh.
And, to add more to that, Pitts hasn't
Death
topped
Valley.
a 13.8% target share the entire season. So
Death Valley, man.
Yeah, it's
so funny because we came into this season thinking, oh man, the tight end class is gonna be good. It's gonna be
should have been right.
It is Death Valley right now, and maybe it'll pick up as the season.
3 weeks is a very small sample size. Yeah.
So, but right now, Death Valley. I would watch the running backs here too, because Alvin Kamara was a hip or a rib injury or both that he was working through this week.
Bijan popped up on the injury report today.
Popped up.
Yeah.
I'm not even sure for what. So, both. I'm not sure about Kamara. I know Bijan's questionable right now. Kamara, I'm not sure, but just
monitor. But my lean is they both play.
Yeah, I think they'll both play, but just keep an eye on it.
Another receiver who has been trending up the last couple of weeks is Chris Olave. He has 80-plus yards in every game and a 29.3% target share over the last 2 weeks, which is great. The Falcons have given up a 38.4% target share and 76-plus yards each week and a touchdown in two-thirds of these weeks to opposing wide receiver ones so far. So it's actually a pretty good matchup for Chris Olave. I think that's why he's in must-start territory. He's been trending up. He's got a great matchup here. They've been giving it up to wide receiver ones.
Yeah.
So,
and right now he's leading all receivers in average separation and route win rate when on the outside. So Let's go. Let's get the good times rolling with Chris Olave.
And I have Derek Carr here as a sit, despite that, because the Falcons have allowed a top 15 QB finish once, which was Jalen Hurts with a 85 rushing yards and a touchdown. Derek Carr is not going to get anything on the ground. It's just sit Derek Carr. Do not play him this week. If you felt like you were gonna have to stream him, please do not.
Yeah.
Bengals Panthers.
Bengals Panthers.
Andy Dalton revenge game.
I've seen that come up a lot today, and I don't know. Do you think Andy Dalton feels that way, or do you think it's really a revenge game?
Nah, not really, to be honest.
Nah, probably not.
Panthers have not been good defensively. However, they may be able to stay more competitive. We saw that happen last week. So
yes.
When you have an offense that can stay competitive and a poor defense, that pushes the opposing offense to have to stay aggressive and a lot of plays, a lot of passing. So Joe Burrow and Jamar Chase are set up pretty well this game.
Oh, yeah.
So both must starts. You were probably starting them every week.
Carolina allowing third most passing. Joe Burrow's going to be fine.
Zach Moss is a strong start here. As I said, the Panthers haven't been good defensively, and he is firmly in control of the RB1 spot there. His usage has been great. The utilization has been great.
And I still don't really see why.
Chase Brown, if you could look at almost every efficiency metric, success rate by run. Chase Brown has been better. And if you just the eye test, just from watching the games, Chase Brown has looked more explosive and better. So I don't honestly know if it stays that way all season long, because I don't know. I just think Chase Brown has been playing very, very well, and I think at some point he's going to start pushing for touches.
I'm not going to say that Zach Moss has been bad either.
No.
I guess he's doing enough to keep the role. I don't know.
Chuba Hubbard last week had a great game. He played 58% of the snaps last week, 74% of the running back touches. So,
and they've been increasing over 3 games too.
He's been getting great usage. Bengals have been pretty good defensively for the most part, but they just got torched by the Commanders and Jaden Daniels. So we'll have to see what Andy Dalton can do here, but I think Andy Dalton could be a strong start here. Chuba Hubbard is borderline must-start territory. Deontay Johnson just shot up for a huge game with Andy Dalton. Strong target share, strong usage. Deontay Johnson is, I think, a must-start in this game. The Bengals are obviously an offense that can push another team to have to pass, so I think Andy Dalton passing a lot. He's going to be looking for Deontay Johnson. If we have another strong week, I'm going to say Deontay Johnson's in just like must-start territory. The target share is great. He had a great game, and that's all we can go off.
Yeah, for sure. Andy Dalton, if you need a streamer, I say go for it. If you're in 2 quarterback leagues, definitely pick him up. Definitely help you. But if you need a streamer, for sure, grab Andy Dalton.
Yeah, we had him in the waiver wire video as just a straight-up ad. Like, if you're struggling at quarterback, I think, based off of what we saw, he could definitely be an option for you, like, for several weeks here at the very least. So.
For example, Anthony Richardson, right? I picked up Andy Dalton in some of my leagues just so I can let Anthony Richardson kind of simmer and find his way. So go get him.
Always good to have a veteran presence behind your young
That's right. I was gonna draft. I was gonna add Tom Brady to my fantasy lineup just because he's a good locker room presence.
Yeah. Do you remember when I did that last year? I
saw his name and I was thinking about it. I was like, I should add Tom Brady to my
last year. As we were getting down into the later parts of the season, I was like, all right, I need good locker room presence. So I cut a bunch of people and like added Tom Brady and just for S&Gs, but just to keep it fun.
Yeah, gotta love it.
Moving on, Rams
Bears.
Man, only if Cooper Kupp and Puka were healthy here, but
man,
they're not.
No, they're not.
However,
this would be a great spot for them, for sure.
Bears defense has been pretty good, but 2 out of the 3 weeks played, QBs have been in the bottom half of the league in completion percentage and bottom 10 in passing yards per game. So it's a tough one here, but I would sit Matthew Stafford. I don't expect him to do anything great here.
Yeah, no, absolutely not. I had Matty, and I dropped him this week just because I didn't see nothing good here for him.
In week 2 against the Bears, Nico Collins had 8 receptions for 135 yards and a touchdown. He played 83.8% of his passing snaps from out wide. Tutu Atwell has played 73.8% of his passing snaps from out wide this season. I think Tutu Atwell is actually a pretty strong start here. I think he could go out there and have a pretty good week. That's why he's a strong start. Kyron Williams is a must-start every week. His usage is strong. He's just someone you're going to have to start, even if the efficiency hasn't been always great, and the matchup here isn't great either. Not really a plus or negative matchup here for Kyron, as I was saying. It's kind of neutral, but the usage is been. I mean, he's one of the best utilized running backs in the league.
You can't sit him. He's
gonna be okay. He's had 100% of the carries inside the 5, second in weighted opportunity per game, which is just it's a way of evaluating the opportunity of a running back based on the high value touches like receptions, red zone usage, and so just saying his opportunity and his usage has been second best across the league.
Yeah. Second among running backs in expected fantasy points, and he leads the position in carries inside the 10 with 10.
Yep. And he's tied for first in touchdowns for running backs.
Yeah.
Kyron Williams is great. Keenan Allen logged a limited practice yesterday, Wednesday. I don't remember what his practice was today, but just monitor Keenan Allen here. In week 1, he had the strongest target share on the team, so something to monitor. But if Keenan Allen is out, I think DJ Moore and Rome Odunze are both really, really, really strong starts here. They both had a really high target share last week, and the Rams are one of the best passing matchups in the league. And for that reason, I have Caleb Williams as a strong start. I think all 3 of those guys could be in a good position here. Cole Kmet last week. Very strong target share, very strong everything.
Do you chase the points?
That's why I've got him in a mat over here. Like, you want to start him, but this is kind of the first week of it. You'd like to kind of see a trend of targets going his way, of the route participation going his way.
And we kind of already touched on Cole Kmet once Keenan Allen comes back, right? How is that? What's that going to look like, right? So Keenan Allen potentially coming back to play. Yeah, I don't know. Kind of puts Cole Kmet in a, do I want to start him?
Yeah.
It's
not a terrible matchup, but it's not a great matchup either. Sam Laporta went 4 for 45, and Trey McBride went 6 for 67 against the Rams. So some okay games, but nothing putting Cole Kmet in this he's about to blow up again.
Yeah,
kind of range. So
based on your tight end options, you might have to play Cole Kmet, right? And if you do, great, just play him. But definitely monitor what that looks like with him and Keenan Allen on the field.
Yeah, if Keenan plays.
If he plays, yeah. That's right.
And DeAndre Swift, just sit him. I would.
Sorry.
I honestly, I think DeAndre Swift is probably a player at this point you can just drop.
Oof.
I think you can drop DeAndre Swift. It's just it's not working, and I don't know if he's worth a roster spot at this point, to be honest with you. But
Roschon Johnson,
like I said, he was in our waiver wire video. So, But do not start any of the running backs in this matchup. Please do not. Vikings and Packers.
Oh, I want to see this one.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like this rivalry. It goes back a long ways. They always play each other hard. I'm excited for this game.
I think it could dud out a little bit, to be honest.
Both
defenses have been playing
well.
pretty good.
Yeah, the defenses have been playing well. So
I don't think that's the most likely thing to happen, but I think there's a possibility here. But Justin Jefferson, Aaron Jones are must starts every single week. I'm sure you know that. Sam Darnold comes in as a strong start here. It's a little bit of a tougher matchup. Packers have one of the highest interception rates in the league right now.
Yeah,
so
it's definitely going to be a good test, right, to see if this Sam Darnold, first 3 weeks was a mirage.
Yeah.
Or does he play well again tonight? And if he does, man, Sam Darnold's for real, right?
Well, I think there's some nuance to this matchup because with that being said, the Packers have allowed every QB they've gone against to pass for over 200 yards and at least one touchdown in every game. So QBs have still been putting up pretty strong
Yeah.
performances against them, and that includes Anthony Richardson and Will Levis, who are probably two of the poorest passers of the football in the league right now. You can look at any metric you want to, like they are the poorest passers of the football, and they still threw for at least one touchdown and over 200 yards. So I think Sam Darnold
Yeah.
will be fine. Like I said, he's a strong start
I
here.
picked him up.
Yeah.
I picked him up. I'm playing him.
The most targeted opposing wide receiver has scored a touchdown in every game against the Packers as well, which was Brown, Pierce, and Hopkins. They were all the most targeted receivers against the Packers, and they all scored a touchdown. So I think that kind of Justin Jefferson is obviously in a good position here to score a touchdown. I think that's a good bet to make. Every wide receiver has done it so far. So Justin Jefferson, touchdown coming. Vikings are bottom 3 in rushing yards per game, rushing touchdowns, and yards per carry allowed to opposing backs. That's not great for Josh Jacobs.
It's not.
I've got him as a meh here, and
I mean, he might get you what you need volume-wise.
based on volume, right? But he's kind of a borderline sit. This isn't a game where they're going to be able to run the ball well at all, and it's the Vikings offense has been putting up points, so I feel like the Packers are going to have to stay aggressive and pass. They're not going to be able to sit on a lead in this game.
Yeah.
So you probably have to start him still, but expect that it's probably not going to be a great week. So if you have better options, please go there. And because they're probably going to have to pass a lot, Jaden Reed is probably a good start here. I think he could go out there and have a pretty good game.
Any news on Jordan Love actually playing this week?
Practicing. My lean is still he doesn't play another week, but
Yeah.
that is something to monitor, absolutely. Back to Jaden Reed. Vikings are allowing the second most passing yards per game, so the primary benefactor of that is going to be Jaden Reed. So I think Jaden Reed is actually a pretty strong play this week, despite Malik Willis being the quarterback.
Yeah, the only thing that worries me is that, right? Malik Willis being the quarterback.
He just threw for over 200 yards last week, so
Yeah. That's true. I guess maybe I should give him a little credit. We'll see how this game goes.
Jaguars Texans. Jaguars are a hot dumpster fire. Please sit most of everyone.
Oh, Lord, what is going on over there? You said what? Doug Peterson fired by when?
I think I said midseason last week.
Gosh, wow.
Jaguars have actually been pretty strong against the run, however. Excuse me. But they're allowing the fourth most rushing touchdowns, despite not allowing many rushing yards per game or yards per carry. So I think it looks like it's going to be the Cam Akers again. So when these slides were made, I thought Dameon Pierce was going to start. It's going to look like Dameon Pierce and Joe Mixon are not playing. So Cam Akers upgrades to kind of a strong start here. I think he is a very strong bet to score a touchdown or two in this game, especially because it's just going to be him. So I think Cam Akers probably has a spot in your lineup. It's not going to be pretty, but he's almost a lock to score a touchdown in this game.
I mean, yeah, maybe low end RB2
Touchdown
territory,
dependent.
flex.
Yeah.
You know, if you put Cam Akers in your flex, you'll be all right.
Yeah, I think so. Most of the wide receiver production have come against opposing outside wide receivers for the Texans. So, Brian Thomas, he's the opposing outside wide receiver in this game that I would expect to be.
He's been the one that's kind of been the. I don't know. I feel like he's been the only
bright
spot. You know what I mean? Like everyone else has been just.
Christian Kirk had a pretty good game last season, but that was against the Bills, who are kind of like a slot funnel right now. So, whereas the Texans are not. Brian Thomas is in that meh territory here because it's a matchup that could definitely go his way, but hard to upgrade him past that point just given how the Jaguars have been playing.
Yeah, for sure. Houston allowing the 7th most receiving yards to the perimeter, too. So
that's what I said,
That's not Christian Kirk territory.
Nope.
Definitely Brian Thomas, and, you know, they gotta throw to somebody.
They're going to have to throw to keep up.
Somebody got to get it, right? So,
as always, C.J. Stroud, Nico Collins, must starts. Tank Dell looks like he's not going to play this week. Stephon Diggs, borderline must start. And Yeah, that's that matchup. Jaguars are stinky. Steelers, Colts.
Steelers, Colts. Anthony Richardson.
About
He's going to
to
do it, finally.
Steelers have been
Gosh.
pretty strong across the board.
Yep.
Colts have had a singular rusher go for over 150 rushing yards in 2 of 3 games this week, or this season. Najee Harris is in must-start territory. This is a great matchup. The only game they didn't give up that much to a singular rusher was against the Bears. And as we've gone over before, the Bears just can't run the football at all right now. So, this is a dream matchup for Najee Harris, who has already had, the strongest usage on the team by a long shot. Jalen Warren and Cordarrelle Patterson have been nothing more than kind of change of pace people for the most part. So Najee Harris getting all the work, and now a super, super strong matchup. Must start. George Pickens also in the must start territory over here. I think it's a good matchup for George Pickens here. The Steelers are 4th in rush rate though, and 26th in pass rate over expectation. They are continuing to just run the football as much as they want. And this is a game where they could probably win the football game purely on the ground.
Yeah.
Because the Colts have been giving up on the ground so much. So
yeah,
we'll see how much passing volume comes along here.
I'm not expecting much.
But with that being said, the Colts have been weak in the passing game as well. They've allowed a receiver to have 112 plus yards in 2 out of 3 games this season, and 2 total receiving touchdowns in 2 out of 3 games once again.
I'm expecting the Steelers to control this game on the ground, and I'm probably not going to see much.
George Pickens, though, because of, they've been giving up in the passing game. I think George Pickens could go out there and have over 100 yards and a touchdown.
Yeah,
easy.
Have a few bombs, maybe.
Yeah,
it's definitely in the outcome of possibility.
Justin Fields is a strong start here because it's a great matchup once again, and he's been playing pretty good. So I think if you have to stream, George Pickens is fine. Pat Freiermuth. This is actually a pretty good spot for the tight ends here. Colts have allowed at least 1 touchdown to a player who ran most of the routes from the slot in every game this season. So, and to Pat Freiermuth, he could have a pretty good game. He could score a touchdown this week here.
Does he rejuvenate tight end Death Valley?
I don't know about that, but he could score a touchdown this week, and he's been seeing an uptick in the usage here. So
yeah, and they like looking for Muth in the red zone too. So.
And as we said, the Steelers have been really strong defensively just about everywhere. Anthony Richardson is a borderline sit for me. You're sitting everyone but Jonathan Taylor for sure. Jonathan Taylor just gets the usage. He's a good player. He's kind of where you drafted him, you have to start him.
What kind of, I don't know, and maybe it's just me looking for hope because I have Anthony Richardson, right? But Josh Downs comes back, right? Does Josh Downs help him?
His receiving, I'd like to think so, but
help him keep the chains moving, help him stay on the field, help him stay in passing situations, and
we'll see.
We'll see, right?
Josh Downs was consistently like the best receiver in camp before he got hurt, so it's possible. We'll see how that shakes out. That is a good point. That's not enough to say to recommend Anthony Richardson this week.
These 3 weeks, you probably want to see it first. If you don't have better options, you're probably having to play Anthony Richardson, or really, even if you have Anthony Richardson, there's probably better options right now just because of how he's playing. So I would agree with that. Definitely a meh, borderline sit just until you see it again for sure.
Broncos Jets.
This
is 2 very strong defenses here.
Oh yeah.
Pat Surtain is #good at football.
No.
He hasn't allowed an opposing wide receiver 1 to go over 29 yards this season.
And that includes Mike Evans.
Yeah, that includes a lot of people. So it's actually not a horrible matchup for the Broncos on the ground, but they've been atrocious on the ground. So it's not enough to recommend them. Broncos have been very poor rushing the football, and it looks like a 3-way committee right now.
And it's that carousel over there.
We've got Jaleel, Javonte, and now we got Tyler Beatty coming in.
I don't want no part of it. Ugh.
I will say the Broncos middle linebacker and slot cornerback have given up 13 receptions for 94 yards, or gave up that much last week. And now that starting middle linebacker is done for the season. Tyler Conklin, who could feast in the middle of the field and just came off a pretty good week last week.
Yeah, him and
I think he's a strong start, honestly.
Him and Aaron Rodgers kind of like found each other, didn't they?
Yeah, and that's where they've been most susceptible. Garrett Wilson is going to be a no factor in this game, and with the slot cornerback and the middle linebackers giving up the most kind of receiving production on that entire defense, I think Tyler Conklin's in a position here to perhaps feast and have another good week. So if you are looking for another tight end to stream or start this week, I think Tyler Conklin is a good bet.
You definitely want tight ends that are involved and are going to be out there, right?
Yep. And he's got a 90% route participation, so he's out there. I think Tyler Conklin's a strong start. Breece Hall is a must start. Braylon Allen is approaching start territory. He's been really, really good, but still kind of in a meh position here just because the Broncos have been good defensively, and we'll see. Aaron Rodgers, Garrett Wilson, I would sit. However, just not a good matchup for them. And I would sit every single Broncos person you can. Because Cortland Sutton will have to see Sauce Gardner or DJ Reed. Either one are very good cornerbacks. Cortland Sutton is probably not going to be productive. Bo Nix, while coming off the best game of his career, this is a super tough defense. So I would not go Bo Nix if you were feeling frisky for some reason. And like I said, the running backs, please.
Not against that defense. Heck no. Now, Rodgers, maybe?
Nah, I would sit him too. I don't think there's going to be enough.
No. Just because of I don't know. He hasn't been playing bad. He's been playing pretty good.
Well, it's not about Aaron Rodgers. It's about the Broncos defense.
Yeah. But, he's a veteran. There's maybe he's able to move the ball against the Broncos where others haven't, right?
Nah, I think you got better options.
Yeah.
Eagles Bucks rematch of the playoff game. Must starts Jalen Hurts, Saquon Barkley. Always Dallas Goedert this week is a must start. I don't think A.J. Brown or Devontae Smith are practicing, but monitor the health of Devontae Smith. A.J. Brown's not going to play. Dallas Goedert is a must start without Devontae Smith. He's a borderline must start even if he plays. Devontae Smith is obviously a must start if he's going to be active this week. He's fighting a concussion, so we'll kind of see if he makes it through protocol. Both of these defenses have really struggled on all facets of the game, so I think this could be a pretty good shootout.
Yeah,
I think so. Mike Evans likely scores a touchdown here, and this week they've given up a lot of passing touchdowns. So yeah, Chris Godwin has been playing great, must start, and everyone else, Mike Evans, Rashad Wright, Bucky Irving, Baker Mayfield are all, I think, strong starts here. I think they should have no problem moving the ball.
Yeah, this one, I'm definitely excited for this one. Definitely has shootout potential. Definitely.
Commanders Cardinals. This is probably my favorite
Jaden
matchup of the week here. Jaden Daniels playing great. Brian Robinson playing great.
Rookie QB.
Daniels and McLaurin finally connected. I think they continue to build on that. All three of those players are must starts every single week. Zach Ertz is a strong start. Jaden's looking for him. And Cardinals haven't been a crazy matchup against tight ends either. And Zach Ertz was up for a revenge game over here.
Right.
So Cliff Kingsbury revenge game. So
let's go.
We'll see what happens. And Austin Eckler is going to be out this week, so even more reason to start Brian Robinson. He's going to completely have the backfield to himself.
Yeah, I think that helps. That even more so kind of maybe helps Zach Ertz too when you're looking for your little security valve. Eckler's not out there. Oh, there's Zach Ertz.
Yep. Kyle Murray, James Conner, Trey McBride, Marvin Harrison Jr. all must starts every single week. But I think Michael Wilson can be a sneaky strong start this week. Like I said, both defenses have been very, very soft. I expect both offenses to move the ball. I would expect fireworks here.
Yeah, I like if you have players here, you want a piece of this game for sure.
Patriots at 49ers. On the opposite side of things, this game's kind of gross. 49ers have given up fewer rushing yards per game than the Jets have. If you recall, last week, Ramondre Stevenson got completely destroyed and game scripted out of the game.
Man.
Please sit Ramondre Stevenson this week. They are a tougher matchup for running backs than even last week was. Yeah. And last week was a complete dud of a game. So not expecting Ramondre Stevenson to be able to do much of anything. Please sit Ramondre. Monitor George Kittle's health. I'm not sure if he's going to be active right now, but if he's active, he's pretty much always a must-start. He can go out there and have a huge week. If George Kittle misses another week, if Deebo Samuel misses another week, Juwan Jennings, I think, is a strong play here. The Patriots are an okay matchup. They've been susceptible to the pass, so I think Juwan Jennings here, Brock Purdy could be strong starts. However, Brandon Ayuk is a sit for me. He's going to be going against Christian Gonzalez, who's been playing very great. So I don't think Brandon Ayuk has a fantastic game here, especially if Juwan Jennings and Brock Purdy continue to link up here. If George Kittle plays, Juwan Jennings obviously takes a little bit of a hit, but I think he could still be a strong start because after last week's performance, I think Brock Purdy and him are definitely going to develop some chemistry. I think Purdy will be looking for him no matter what after moving the ball so much with him.
Yeah, he's got the hot hand right now. They definitely found each other. The chemistry is, apparent. I wouldn't expect 3 touchdowns again, but definitely he deserves a spot in your lineup.
Yep. Jordan Mason must start. Jalen Polk I have as a meh this week. He's borderline. You can put him in your flex. Tutu Atwell last week had 4 receptions for 95 yards playing on the outside. That's kind of been Jalen Polk's role, is kind of their outside receiver. I think Jalen Polk could have a similar game here. Kind of 4 receptions for 80-plus yards. I think he could go out there and do that, which is fine, flex value. So I think if you're in a pinch this week, Jalen Polk is a fine flex option, based on the matchup here.
Bam.
Chiefs-Chargers.
Chiefs-Chargers.
This is a little bit of an interesting game. Chiefs haven't been amazing offensively.
No.
Chargers have been a strong defense, so we'll kind of see here.
I think they're definitely missing that Marquise Brown
vertical element. Mm-hmm. First order of business is Carson Steele. 62% of snaps, 55% route participation, 68% of the total running back touches for a total of 19 touches and 74 total yards.
Usage was strong. Man.
He was definitely the lead back. I think they'll continue to lean into him. He was fine on the ground. He actually ran more routes than Samaje Perine did.
Oh, sure did.
So, Carson Steele, usage is strong here, and I think that makes him kind of a strong start. I think in his second NFL start, he'll blossom a little bit more, and I think he could be in a good position this week.
Yeah. Just, Andy Reid did mention that Kareem Hunt will rotate in this game.
Did he?
With Carson Steele.
I missed that, so we'll see.
Be careful.
Chargers have been pretty good defensively, but this is by far the best offense they've faced. I mean, they've Panthers, Steelers. Who they play week 2?
Who?
Chargers. I'm blanking on it, but they have played kind of bad offenses, to put it nicely. So while they have been good defensively, they haven't been tested. This is a test. We'll see how this defense holds up. On the Chargers side of things, this is not a positive or a negative matchup. It's pretty neutral for J.K. Dobbins. It was kind of a dud in the box score for J.K. Dobbins. He didn't really produce much of anything, but he actually had his most dominant game in terms of running back touch there. He did 86% of the running back touches, so clearly they're leaning into J.K. Dobbins more. He's been pretty good this season. If they are going to really give him the keys here, I think he's probably must-start territory. It's a good matchup through the air. Most susceptible in the slot this season for the Chiefs. Ladd McConkey is their primary slot receiver. I think he's running 80% of his routes from the slot. So I think he could be kind of a borderline meh or strong start, but you need Justin Herbert to play. If Justin Herbert doesn't play, don't get cute and play Ladd McConkey. I don't know the Herbert situation right now. I think he's practicing in a limited fashion.
Ankle, isn't it?
Yeah, he's kind of nursing that. So we'll see with Herbert's status, but J.K. Dobbins must start. If Herbert plays, I think Ladd McConkey is someone you could play this week. Patrick Mahomes, Rashee Rice must starts every single week.
Oh, yeah.
I would sit Travis Kelce and Xavier Worthy at this point. None of them are getting strong enough usage to be anything more than a boom-bust play.
What a world we live in where we're talking about, Travis Kelce, I'll sit him.
And you might think that's ridiculous. You, the viewer, to tell you to sit Travis Kelce, but just at a certain point, you got to stop hanging on. It is clearly not there yet, so don't be sacrificing that tight end position for nothing just because it's Travis Kelce.
Yeah,
it's not going to happen. It's just
now Derwin James is out, so that could help maybe. If they wanted to get Kelce the ball, Derwin James being out does help a lot. So if you don't have better options, you could play him. Like if you only have one tight end, you haven't pulled any others off the waiver wire that are worth having. Obviously you're going to start Travis Kelce, but If you got other options, Travis Kelce hasn't been showing it. Do not be afraid of sitting Travis Kelce just because his name is Travis Kelce.
Yep. Got to follow the trends. You got to follow the production, and none of it's been there. So I would lean sitting Travis Kelce and moving on. Browns Raiders.
Here we go. This is the one.
A little bit. So 79 and 88% of the total running back touches for Jerome Ford in 2 out of 3 weeks. He had that down week in week 2 where he didn't really. He had an odd little weird dud in usage, but outside of that, he's dominated the running back touches. So it's kind of hard to really say, but I think we got to go what we've seen the most option, which is him dominating the running back room. So with that being said, this is an elite matchup for Jerome Ford, and so honestly, I think he's a must-start. The usage has been mostly strong, and for a matchup this good against the Raiders, I think you need to be getting Jerome Ford into your lineup. Amari Cooper, a must-start as well. They got going. Obviously, Amari Cooper scored the 2 touchdowns last week. This is a good matchup through the air. I mean, Deontay Johnson just went off last week, so I think Amari Cooper, Chuba Hubbard went off last week against the Raiders. Both those guys, I think that should make you feel pretty confident about Jerome Ford and Amari Cooper here. I think they go out and have really strong weeks.
Yeah.
Must starts. Deshaun Watson, you could probably cut him, but he's a sit. On the Raiders side of things, I still have Devontae Adams and Brock Bowers as must starts. Obviously, last week, Trey Tucker and Jacoby Myers had the strong games, but the bulk of that production came in the second half. Once the game was completely out of hand, they got mollywalked by the Panthers here. So I don't think that's going to be something that continues here. I think Devontae Adams and Brock Bowers are the ones you want to start.
Yeah, for sure.
I will say for Brock Bowers, we really need to see that route participation to improve. It's actually gone down every single game, so that's not great, but given the tight end position, Brock Bowers has been one of the best tight ends in fantasy football at the moment.
He only had one first target read last week. Only one. I found that's so super odd, but okay.
But given the tight end position, I think he's still a must start. You are sitting all the running backs in this game. It is not a good matchup necessarily, and the usage and everything going on in that Raiders backfield has been hot garbage. Bills Ravens. This is should be a fun game.
I think so.
Must starts: Josh Allen, James Cook, and
Say it again.
Dalton Kincaid. I know. The first 2 weeks were sad.
Valkyrie. Let's go, baby.
Last week was good. 3 receptions, 41 yards, and a touchdown. But this, I really feel like this should be the week.
The Ravens have been giving it up to
the
tight end.
best tight end matchup. Ravens have allowed 6+ reception and 85 yards to an opposing tight end both of the last 2 weeks. The tight ends have just been going off.
Just getting them.
Brock Bowers, Jake Ferguson. Bowers and Ferguson both ran the majority of their routes from the slot. Kincaid has ran 60.5% of his routes this season from the slot. Last week, 5 targets, 3 receptions for 41 yards and a touchdown. 78% and 75% route participation between weeks 1 and 2. He only had 46 last week, but none of the starters basically played in the second half. So that's the reason for the dip in the route participation here. So the route participation has been strong. The target share has mostly been going up. The production's mostly been going up. This is the week for Dalton Kincaid that I think things are going to start to get right, that I think Dalton Kincaid's going to blow up, and the reason you drafted him is going to show. This week is it. This has got to be it. And if it doesn't happen, I'll be sad, but I really think if you have Dalton Kincaid...
No, he's in a prime spot. It's
this is the matchup.
He's in a prime spot.
The Bills have given up a lot of protection to the slot this season, as I mentioned 2 or 3 matchups ago. Kind of opens the door. Mark Andrews, Isaiah Likely, but honestly, with their usage this season, I kind of have him as start at your own risk. I don't know who it's going to be. I think that really opens it up for Zay Flowers to be a strong start. Obviously, he plays the majority of his routes from the slot. Bills have been a slot funnel. Look for Zay Flowers to have a strong week, and Lamar Jackson, Derrick Henry are must-starts every single week. Khalil Shakir is someone I think could be a strong start this week. He's had kind of the best usage out of the wide receivers. Yeah. So I would be okay with starting Khalil Shakir here. But this match is the Dalton Kincaid game. If it's going to happen, it's going to happen this week. Every tight end's been going off against the Ravens.
Yep. This is it. Titans, Dolphins.
What a gross game.
Ugh.
I think it's going to be the Tyler Huntley show this week for Miami. We'll see kind of what happens. I don't think Skylar Thompson is practicing in a full fashion. Definitely not going to be the Tim Boyle show. So I think it's going to be Tyler Huntley. In weeks 13 through the wild card in 2022, the most receiver ever had with Tyler Huntley was 52 yards.
Yeah.
So not great, right? Don't start Jalen Waddle. Borderline, don't start Tyreek Hill. You probably have to start Tyreek Hill just because it's Tyreek Hill, and I mean it could happen at any point that he just goes out there and has a good game. But
I saw this meme that was the Dolphins were calling for anyone with a Miami jersey to come try out for quarterback.
I did see that. In that wild card game, however, J.K. Dobbins had a 17.2% target share with 43 receiving yards and a touchdown. So I think Devon Achane should be fine. He's just a must-start every week given the ability, given he's one of the most targeted running backs in the league. You gotta start Devon Achane. I know it wasn't pretty last week, but he's been fine for the most part. And as I said,
yeah, you don't want to be sitting Achane and then he goes off for 40-something points. That'll make you real upset.
And as I mentioned with the wildcard game, Tyler Huntley targeted Dobbins at a pretty good rate. And the Titans have allowed 40-plus receiving yards and at least one touchdown to the running backs in the receiving game the last two games. So I think Devon Achane is a good bet to have a productive game in the receiving role that he has. And that's going to keep his floor high. And if he can get going in any other facet, we should have a strong game for Devon Achane.
Is that even with Uncle Rico under center?
What?
Uncle Rico from Napoleon Dynamite. I could throw this football over them mountains.
For sure. Who's Uncle Rico supposed to be in this situation, though? Let's go back, actually. Who are we talking about here?
Getting the ball to Achane. Passing situations.
Oh, okay. So you were making fun of Tyler Huntley. Mm-hmm. That was where we were going. Okay. I didn't know which quarterback you were referring to at this point. It could have been any of them. Good thing we went back to Tony Pollard, DeAndre Hopkins, Calvin Ridley. I think are all strong starts here. Dolphins have been kind of poor on defense, so I think all of them could have good games. I would sit Will Levis and Tyjae Spears, however. Tyjae Spears hasn't been getting the usage, and Will Levis has been bad.
Yeah, that's a sad day.
Seahawks Lions. DK Metcalf and JSN are must-starts here for me. Opposing wide receiver ones have scored a touchdown in every game against the Lions. DK Metcalf might score a touchdown. And receivers that have played at least 70% of their snaps from the slot have scored 110-plus yards and had 8-plus targets in every game against the Lions. I think JSN probably has a good week, who is currently running 85.2% of his routes from the slot. So
yes, sir.
They've given it up to wide receiver ones, DK Metcalf. They've given it up a ton to the slot, JSN.
Yes, sir.
I think you got to be starting them this week. They could both go out there and have really, really strong weeks.
For sure.
Whichever running back is starting for Seattle, I don't know who it's going to be at this point. I think it's going to be Zach Charbonnet. I don't think Kenneth Walker is healthy. Has a really tough matchup here. The Lions have been pretty good on the ground. One running back has rushed for over 22 yards this season, and no running back has had has ever had over 8 total receiving yards in a game against the Lions this season. So, I would say to sit Charbonnet here, but given how strong of usage he had last week, he kind of gets in that mad territory where, off of volume, you might not have better options here.
He can probably give you what you want off volume.
But this is still a matchup to avoid for Zach Charbonnet. This is not
not what you want, what you need. I guess would be a better term. Might get you what you need off volume.
He might not either. Like I said, one running back this season has gone over 22 rushing yards. It's just I don't know. I would sit Zach Charbonnet. I think you got better options.
Yeah.
A receiver has gone over 45 receiving yards once against the Seahawks. It was Hunter Henry with a egregious slot rate, but so it's not exactly a great spot here for any of our receivers. So I would sit Jamison Williams. Amon-Ra St. Brown obviously runs a lot of routes from the slot, though. So we saw Hunter Henry be productive from the slot. I think Amon-Ra St. Brown should be fine, and just given he's the sun god, he's a must start every week.
Yeah, like
Jahmyr Gibbs.
in what world do you sit
Yeah.
Amon-Ra, right?
And if there was going to be a receiver that's productive, it's going to be Amon-Ra in this game. But please sit Jameson Williams. Please sit Jared Goff. This is not a good matchup. I would borderline say sit Sam Laporta. The only reason he's not a sit officially is just because it's the tight end position.
Tight end Death Valley.
Probably not.
You need him in there.
Jahmyr Gibbs, David Montgomery have both been playing very well, had strong usage. Those are 2 must-starts every single game.
Absolutely.
All right.
Tonight.
We made it through. Made it through our matchups. All 16.
Right. All 16. All accounted for.
All accounted for.
All right. So there you go. There's your start sits. Every game, every position.
Kama Sutra. Fantasy football, baby.
Every game, every position. Week 4. Go set those lineups. Go win. We hope we've given you some of those nuggets in order to do so, right? It's all about winning week to week, getting to the playoffs, and then ultimately getting to your league championship. So we hope that we're helping you with that. We hope that you're enjoying the content. If you are, please like. If you're enjoying the content, please comment, right? We want to know about your rivalries here at Fantasy Football Warriors. We want to know, maybe we missed something. Maybe you have something to share that you want to talk about.
Maybe you have questions that weren't answered.
Right. Let's get after it,
let's
right?
talk about it. For sure.
For sure. So, we don't want you missing.
I have one more thing to add. We have been discussing more ideas to continue to get more new content out there, and we've discussed the idea of starting a newsletter. So if that is something you would be interested in, the viewer, please comment down below if it is something you're interested in, so that I can kind of get a pulse here if it would be worth the squeeze, if you will. So if a newsletter sounds interesting to you, is something that you would read and want to be a part of, please tell me down below, and we will continue to look into that.
Absolutely. So, again, if you enjoy the content, subscribe. Don't miss any content. And outside of that, get ready for the games tonight. Enjoy the game tonight. Enjoy the games over the weekend. For the Tank Sinatra, Eddie Bravo, we're signing out. Go get 'em.
See you next time.